a 20-game winning streak against world-class opposition, back-to-back 6-0 victories in candidates' matches, a 125-point rating gap over the second highest-rated player in the world. And at his peak, according to the Chessmetrics rating system, Fischer achieved the highest one-year performance rating in chess history. Robert James Fischer remains perhaps the most enigmatic and brilliant chess mind the world has ever seen. But just how good was Bobby Fischer at his absolute peak? Was he truly the greatest chess player of all time, as many have claimed? Or has his legend been magnified by the dramatic circumstances of his rise and fall? Today, we're diving deep into the extraordinary chess career of Bobby Fischer, examining what made him special, analyzing his most brilliant games, and comparing his achievements to other chess greats throughout history. Bobby Fischer was born in Chicago in 1943 and raised in Brooklyn, New York. His remarkable chess journey began at age 6 when his sister bought him a chess set. By age 8, he was already taking lessons at the Brooklyn Chess Club, and his natural talent quickly became apparent. What set Fischer apart from the beginning was his complete dedication to chess. He would study for hours each day, absorbing knowledge from books and analyzing games. This obsessive focus would become a hallmark of his approach throughout his career. At just 13 years old, Fischer played what became known as the game of the century against grandmaster Donald Byrne. In this game, Fischer sacrificed his queen to create a stunning attack that showcased his tactical brilliance and deep understanding of chess principles far beyond his years.
In this position, Bobby Fischer played bishop to e6. Now, if this is the game of the century in American terms, this is the move of the century. What a move. So, for the 4th or 5th time or whatever, Donald Byrne cannot take the offering.
In 1958, at age 15, Fischer qualified as a grandmaster, becoming the youngest person at that time to achieve this title. His rise in international chess was meteoric, but it wasn't without challenges. The chess world was dominated by Soviet players, who worked together and had state support. Fischer, in contrast, was largely on his own.
This strategy, did it involve finances?
No.
Did you have any help?
No.
Did it all by yourself? Did it make people happy?
Made me happy.
This young man's name is Bobby Fischer, and already he is the United States chess champion. He is 15 years old and he has defeated the masters. He is the United States champion in chess.
Throughout the 1960s, Fischer established himself as one of the world's elite players, but the World Championship remained elusive. He famously withdrew from the 1967 interzonal tournament due to disputes with organizers, temporarily halting his progress toward the championship. Fischer's comeback began at the 1970 interzonal tournament in Palma de Mallorca. He dominated the event, finishing with 18.5 points out of 23, a full 3.5 points ahead of his nearest rival. This performance set the stage for what would become the most dominant run in chess history. The 1971 candidates matches showcased Fischer at his absolute peak. Against former World Championship candidate Mark Taimanov, Fischer achieved something unprecedented, a perfect 6-0 score. No draws, just 6 consecutive wins against one of the world's elite players. What happened next defied belief. In the semi-final match against Bent Larsen of Denmark, considered by many to be the strongest non-Soviet player in the world, Fischer again won with a perfect 6-0 score. Back-to-back shutouts at this level of competition was simply unheard of. In the candidates final, Fischer faced former world champion Tigran Petrosian, known as Iron Tigran for his nearly impenetrable defensive style. After losing his first game in 20 matches to Petrosian in Game 2, Fischer regrouped and ultimately won the match convincingly, with a score of 6.5 to 2.5. By the time Fischer faced world champion Boris Spassky in Reykjavik, Iceland in 1972, he had become a global sensation. The match, set against the backdrop of the Cold War, transcended chess and became a symbolic battle between East and West.
You've said it's your title the Russians are holding. You don't like the Russians.
The Russians have cheated at chess. They've tried every way to avoid me, to avoid giving me a chance for a match. And they've slandered my name. And, they're just dead afraid of me. They have been for years. That's the true story.
And now you're going to get them?
Oh, now I'm going to try to get them, yeah.
The clock has now been started. It was officially 5 o'clock in Reykjavik. Spassky is obviously anxious about the whereabouts of Mr. Fischer.
Bobby was nowhere to be seen.
If Fischer doesn't show up by the time 1 hour has elapsed, he forfeits the game automatically. Oh, there he goes now. He's just played one, pawn to queen 4.
You saw Spassky make his move, then he touched his clock, which turns his clock off, but turns his opponent's clock on. So Fischer's time is now ticking.
Master of all time.
He has no permanent home.
Fischer is a nomad.
Speaks to almost no one.
No contact with his family.
Troubled childhood.
He hasn't seen his mother in over 10 years.
After losing the first game and forfeiting the second, due to disputes about playing conditions, Fischer found himself in a 0-2 hole. Many thought he might abandon the match entirely. Instead, he rallied with one of the greatest comebacks in chess history. Game 3 was pivotal, playing in a small back room away from cameras at his insistence. He won convincingly, changing the momentum of the match. Game 6 is widely considered one of the most beautiful games ever played in a World Championship. Fischer's positional play was so sublime that Spassky himself joined the audience in applauding at the end. Fischer ultimately won the match with a score of 12.5 to 8.5, becoming the 11th world chess champion and the first and still only American to hold the title. At this moment, he stood at the absolute pinnacle of chess. How does Fischer compare to other chess legends? In terms of peak performance, statistical analysis by Jeff Sonis's chess metric system ranks Fischer's one-year peak rating of 2,881 as the highest in chess history, ahead of Garry Kasparov's 2,879 and Mikhail Botvinnik's 2,871. What's particularly impressive about Fischer is the gap between him and his contemporaries. At his peak in 1972, Fischer's rating of 2,785 was a staggering 125 points higher than world champion Boris Spassky's 2,660. This gap demonstrates Fischer's clear superiority over his peers. Modern champions like Garry Kasparov and Magnus Carlsen have achieved higher absolute ratings, but they've benefited from rating inflation and computer analysis. When we account for these factors, Fischer's dominance in his era remains unmatched. Recent computer analysis of Fischer's games shows that his move accuracy was remarkably high, comparable to modern super grandmasters who have the benefit of computer preparation. This speaks to Fischer's natural understanding of chess and his ability to calculate variations with extreme precision. Fischer's tournament performances were equally impressive. His 11-0 sweep of the 1963/64 US Championship, his dominant showing at the 1970 Interzonal, and of course his unprecedented 12 consecutive wins against Taimanov, Larsen, and Petrosian in the 1971 candidates matches demonstrate a level of dominance rarely seen in chess history. What makes Fischer's achievements even more remarkable is that he accomplished them largely on his own. Unlike Soviet players who worked together and had state support, Fischer developed his understanding of chess through individual study and an uncompromising search for truth at the board. Fischer's impact on chess popularity cannot be overstated. The Fischer boom that followed his World Championship victory in 1972 led to an explosion of interest in chess across the United States and around the world. Chess clubs, tournaments, and publications multiplied, and a new generation of players was inspired to take up the game. After winning the World Championship in 1972, Fischer disappeared from competitive chess. He was scheduled to defend his title against Anatoly Karpov in 1975, but forfeited the title after disputes over match conditions. This abrupt departure at the height of his powers only added to his mystique and left the chess world wondering what might have been. Despite his absence from the board, Fischer's influence on chess continued to grow. His games became required study for aspiring players. His ideas in openings, middle games, and endgames became part of the foundation of modern chess theory. He invented the Fischer clock, which adds time after each move and has become standard in tournaments today. He also created Fischer random chess, now called freestyle chess, which randomizes the starting position of the pieces to reduce the emphasis on memorized opening theory. Perhaps the most tantalizing question in chess history is, what if Fischer had continued playing? What if he had defended his title against Karpov in 1975 and potentially faced a young Kasparov in the 1980s? These dream matches remain in the realm of speculation, but they highlight the sense of unfulfilled potential that surrounds Fischer's legacy. Despite the controversies that surrounded his later life, Fischer's contributions to chess are undeniable. At his peak, he showed us what was possible on the 64 squares, a level of dominance, precision, and creativity that continues to inspire chess players around the world. In the end, Bobby Fischer wasn't just a great chess player, he was a transformative figure who forever changed how the game is played, studied, and appreciated. His games remain timeless masterpieces, his ideas continue to influence theory, and his legacy as perhaps the most naturally gifted chess player in history remains secure. Thank you for watching this exploration of peak Bobby Fischer. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. What's your favorite Fischer game, and who do you think is the greatest chess player of all time? Until next time, this is 64 Squares, celebrating the royal game and its greatest champions.